exit 110B. Turn right into the parking lot. Your destination is on the right.
What's going on, YouTube? Craig the Travel Zombie here, and it's been a while, hasn't it? Yeah, it has. I know I promised you guys this video a while back. Unfortunately, I had some things in my personal life, both health-wise and at home, that I had to get taken care of before I could really worry about producing content for this channel. But not to worry, we are coming back in a very, very big way. This is a video that I am extremely excited about. And what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be taking you guys on the Ultimate Phoenix Wrestling Tour. Now, before we get started, I want to acknowledge something, and that is that in the rest of this video, you will notice that I am wearing different clothes. That is because this footage that I am shooting today at the Wrestling Guy store was shot on a different day than the rest of the video. That is because the wrestling store was closed when I arrived here that day. And spoiler alert, the second location that we go to is also closed. So I was not going to release a video for you guys to watch where the first two locations that we visit are both closed. So I decided to come back here today so that we can see the Wrestling Guy store in its full glory, go inside and see everything that they have to offer. My name is Craig, I am the Travel Zombie, and welcome to Prime Time. Now, before we go into the Wrestling Guy store, I also forgot to mention that we will also be visiting the former site of the Ultimate Warrior's Warrior University, as well as the site where he passed away, and we're going to be visiting the graves of Eddie Guerrero and superstar Billy Graham. And right after we're done here at the Wrestling Guy store, I'll be taking you to the former site of Phoenix Madison Square Garden. So, since a lot of the things that we're going to be talking about are a little more on the sad side, I figured let's start the video at a place where wrestling is alive and well, the Wrestling Guy store Phoenix. The only wrestling store dedicated to wrestling in the state of Arizona. They have absolutely everything here. My hometown guy, CM Punk. One of my favorite designs that WWE has released in a long time. And one of my favorite designs they've ever released, period. They have some stuff here that I've actually never seen before. Like this 3-pack showing the evolution of John Cena. Or this Road Warriors 2-pack. Signed figures and photos and even ceiling panels. If you're a fan of old school wrestling, this place is for you. And new school. That right there is a signed turnbuckle from TNA Bound for Glory in Phoenix, Arizona, October 14th, 2012. This is the kind of stuff you come here for. Not just a statue, but it's actually signed number 9 of 50. And there's the wall of gold. Look at that. Shining like a mirror. I actually used to own a lot of these DVDs. You know, back before the days of the WWE Network and now Netflix. So that's it from the Wrestling Guy store today. I want to give a special thank you to the owner, Tony, and Alex at the counter. They were so incredibly nice and informative and very, very friendly. This place, if you guys get a chance, absolutely come and check this place out. It's called the Wrestling Guy Store Phoenix. It is the only dedicated wrestling store in all of Phoenix and all of Arizona, actually. And they have all kinds of meet and greets that are here. They're also very big proponents of the local wrestling scene, not just the big companies. They support the local independent wrestling companies and even have sometimes local independent wrestlers here. They actually have match used items from one of the local, actually two, I think Tony said it was two of the local wrestling promotions here in Arizona. They have actual ring used items. They have a garbage can and a piece of table, and I believe he said that he just bought one of the match participants from one of those matches boots as well. So this place is incredibly cool. Everybody here extremely nice. They have merchandise that I have never seen before, that I didn't even know existed in this store. So if you get a chance, if you're a wrestling fan, even if you're not a wrestling fan, come check this place out and you will become a fan. Now, on to the site of Phoenix Madison Square Garden. All right, so we've made it to our second stop on the tour today. The site, or rather, the former site of Phoenix Madison Square Garden. Unfortunately, the museum no longer exists, so we won't be able to see that. But if we go right around the corner, just over here, there is a memorial of sorts. So this kind of explains the layout of the site that we're standing in. It mentions the museum, like I said just a little while ago. Unfortunately, the museum is since closed. But what it does say is that these trusses overhead are actually original to Phoenix Madison Square Garden, which, by the way, was actually named after the famed venue in New York City. And that the ends of the trusses from here all the way over to the other side over here mark the front of the building, which would have been facing 7th Avenue right here. This marker right here explains that these sculptures are called the opponents. They were erected in 2007, shortly after the building was demolished, and they represent the real-life scars sustained by the men and women who fought and wrestled here. And boy, do they ever have some scars. There are 4 different plaques here commemorating the events that occurred at Phoenix Madison Square Garden. I'm not going to read all of these to you. You can hit pause if you'd like. So this plaque right here talks about the history of music at Madison Square Garden, but the one thing that I'm not seeing mentioned is the fact that a young man from Tupelo, Mississippi, once asked to play on a concert right here at the Phoenix Madison Square Garden in exchange for gas money. He was turned down. That man's name was Elvis Aaron Presley, and the promoter never regretted anything more in his career than not putting him on the bill that night, because he said that he easily could have fit Elvis on the bill that night. He just didn't. But he did bring him back later for a show at the Arizona State Fairgrounds. And this is the one plaque that I will read to you, because this is what we came here for. Wrestling was the longest running attraction at Phoenix Madison Square Garden. From the day it opened to the day it closed, audiences were delighted by national celebrities such as Lou Thez, Gorgeous George, Nature Boy Buddy Rogers, and Lord Carlton, and local talents such as Tito Montez, Cowboy Bob Yuma, and Jody Arnold. Televised matches were a local sensation, and the ritual drama of the match became popular family entertainment. Now, yet again, there's something that is not mentioned here, so I'm wondering if it's mentioned perhaps on this boxing plaque right here, and it doesn't appear to be. The other thing that they fail to mention is that Golden Gloves boxing used to take place right here at the Phoenix Madison Square Garden. And one of the people who participated in that Golden Gloves boxing was none other than one of the men we're going to visit today, superstar Billy Graham. So I just had my first YouTuber rite of passage. Apparently someone saw me looking in the window of the museum because, I just wanted to see if it was still there, because I'd heard reports that it was closed, or that, nobody could get in even during the supposed opening hours of 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. every Wednesday. And so I looked in the window, as you guys saw, recorded it, and went about my way, went about recording the memorial area, which, by the way, I forgot to mention that the square that all of those plaques are mounted on is the exact dimensions of the boxing ring that was here at the Phoenix Madison Square Garden. But anyway, I digress. Right before I recorded that last clip, the door to the office building opened and out came a security lady. And she's telling me about, this is private property, you can't record on private property. Now, I don't know if it's private property or not. I'm guessing it's not because it's right next to the sidewalk. And this memorial was also mandated by the city of Phoenix for the developer to build this development. But I'm also not stupid enough to argue about that and get the police called. So I asked her, could you please give me about 5-10 minutes or so to just finish up what I need to shoot, gather my information, and then I'll be out of here. And she went and asked whoever it was about it, and they said yes. So to the security guard, to whoever the management is here, thank you so much for being cool about it. So for those of you who have followed my channel for any substantial amount of time, this is going to be a little bit of a retread these next couple of stops, but it wouldn't be an Ultimate Phoenix Wrestling Tour without them. So right now, we are at the former site of the Ultimate Warrior's gym, Warrior University. Now, of course, we're going to have something to eat here, and I'm hoping that before we leave, I'll get to show you guys something special, but it all depends on if the manager okays it. All right, the food has arrived, and it looks delicious. This place makes all of their bagels and bialys fresh. The difference is they're not baked here. They're boiled. It's not every day that you get to do something like this. As you look at me right now, right up above me, in this very same frame, the same rafters, the same air ducts that were here when this was Ultimate Warrior's Wrestling School. And now, we get to have a tasty bite of a cinnamon raisin bagel, right here. Oh, that's one heck of a good bagel. Incredible. Crisp on the outside, soft on the inside. Vegan cream cheese is perfect. Absolutely love it. I mean, seriously, look at that. Does it get any better than that? I don't think so. So unfortunately, they couldn't show us the lockers that are back there that are original to the Warrior University days, but this is still a fantastic stop. If you're here and you're looking for Phoenix wrestling history, absolutely stop here. For our next location, we're back at another place that we've been to already. And for those of you who haven't seen it, I'll link my previous Ultimate Warrior video in the description below. But this is unfortunately where our story today turns grim. Now, if you haven't seen my previous video on the Ultimate Warrior, or if you're not a wrestling fan, because I know not all of you are, you might be asking yourself, why are we at the Sonesta Suites in Scottsdale? And that is a very valid question. The answer is because it was at this very hotel, in this very parking lot, where the Ultimate Warrior had a heart attack, collapsed, and ultimately died while walking to the car with his wife, Dana. Now, it's unclear exactly where in this parking lot the Ultimate Warrior collapsed. So I'm just going to walk you around and show you the parking lot. And as I do that, I'm going to go over the timeline of events from that weekend. It was on April 5th of 2014, after reconciling, after, I'm not sure exactly how long actually, with Vince McMahon and the WWF, after having an extremely tumultuous relationship, the Ultimate Warrior was inducted as the headliner of the Hall of Fame class of 2014 in New Orleans. On April 6th, he appeared at WrestleMania 30 at the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. On April 7th, the Ultimate Warrior would make his final public appearance, in which he said, "Every man's heart one day beats its final beat. His lungs breathe their final breath. And if what that man did in his life makes the blood pulse through the body of others and makes them believe deeper in something larger than life, then his spirit, his essence, will be immortalized." And a lot of people, forgive me, a lot of people believe that he knew that he didn't have much time left when he gave that speech. The next day, April 8th, at 5:50 p.m., outside of this very hotel, he collapsed next to his wife Dana and was later pronounced dead. Now, unfortunately, while I would love to go and visit the Ultimate Warrior's final resting place, he's actually buried in Indiana, so that's not going to be doable today, obviously. But we are going to go and visit two other WWE legends, WWE Hall of Famers, in fact, that are buried right here on the other side of Scottsdale. And if you're a long-time subscriber to this channel, you recognize these gates. Ever since the first time I came to this cemetery, I thought it was beautiful. But this is new. Not the statue, but someone left a little Beanie Baby teddy bear. And now, the short walk to visit one of my personal heroes, WWE Hall of Famer, Latino Heat, Eddie Guerrero. Now, I've talked about this before previously in my full-length video that I did here last year on this channel, which I'll leave a link to in the description. But Eddie Guerrero was a personal hero of mine. For those of you who don't know the story of Eddie Guerrero, I'll give you an abbreviated version here, but if you want to hear the full story about Eddie Guerrero, about his life and his career, go back and watch that first video I did here. So, Eddie grew up always wanting to be a professional wrestler. His brothers, Hector, Mondo, and Chavo Sr. were all wrestlers. His father, Gory Guerrero, was a professional wrestler. And he succeeded. He made it to the biggest of the big time and became arguably the biggest Guerrero in the wrestling business. And he did that through working in CMLL in Mexico, working in Japan. Eventually he made it to WCW. And then when before WCW folded, he moved over to WWE with Perry Saturn, Dean Malenko, and Chris Benoit as the Radicals. Eddie, unfortunately, when he was in WCW, had gotten into a car accident. He had taken a cap full of Remutrin and pieces of his car ended up in the trees. And so he rushed himself back to wrestling before he was really ready. And unfortunately, that springboarded him into a drug and alcohol addiction that it would take him a very, very long time and a lot of heartbreak to kick. That very same addiction ended up getting him fired from WWE. He ran straight into Jim Ross, head of talent relations for WWE, while he was drunk at work. And he ended up getting fired for that. Then he ended up finding God, finding religion, getting sober, and working his way back to WWE. And eventually, he became WWE champion. He reclaimed his family. He reached the pinnacle of his industry. And shortly after, he passed away. So why is Eddie Guerrero a hero to me? Well, that's simple. I actually grew up in a family with addicts and alcoholics. I have friends who are addicts and alcoholics, and I've seen their struggle. I've seen what they go through. I've seen the pain that their addiction has caused, both them and the people around them. And the fact that Eddie was able to get his life together and earn his family back before he passed away, that inspires the heck out of me, man. And now to visit our second WWE Hall of Famer today, we're going to head just about 100 feet to the right of Eddie. And right here, we find the final resting place of superstar Billy Graham. When you talk about superstar Billy Graham, you're talking about a guy who just simply does not get the credit that he deserves for being the pioneer that he was in professional wrestling. He was the first to really have the chiseled bodybuilder look in professional wrestling. He had 22-inch biceps. He was a master of the modern promo, the jive talk inspired by Muhammad Ali. His flamboyant fashion, colorful tie-dyed shirts that you would see with people like Jesse Ventura and Hulk Hogan after him. The cool heel, he broke the traditional mold of the hated villain by being so charismatic the crowds cheered him even when he cheated. That sounds a lot like the guy we just talked about, Eddie Guerrero, paving the way for fans to root for anti-heroes. He popularized the term brother in professional wrestling, which, I think we know a somewhat prominent guy that ended up using and becoming known for using that word, don't we? What was his name? Brother. Oh, Hulk Hogan, that's right. He is widely considered the most copied wrestler in history. Hulk Hogan, Scott Steiner, Ric Flair, Macho Man Randy Savage, Triple H, Stone Cold, and even John Cena have copied aspects of superstar Billy Graham's character. His influence on professional wrestling is limitless. So that's it for our Ultimate Phoenix Wrestling Tour today. I hope you guys had as great of a time as I did visiting all of these historic sites, visiting these legends. In fact, I hope you guys had an even better time. Now, as for the Phoenix Madison Square Garden Museum, I actually found out that the reason the museum is closed is because the office space is being renovated, so they are using the museum as office space right now. And the security guard actually told me that once the office space renovation is done, they will be reopening the museum. So we're definitely going to be going back there someday. And if you enjoyed the Wrestling Guy store, be sure to go and visit their website. Go and check them out on Instagram. They were incredibly friendly, and I want to put them over as hard as I can. And if you've ever wanted to support this channel, you now have 2 ways to do that. For just $5 a month, you can join me on Patreon, and you will get every video as soon as it's finished and uploaded. Or for $15, you can get a personalized video from me on Cameo. I will do wedding wishes. I will do happy birthdays. I will roast that one headache in your life. Whatever you need me for, I can and will do it. And every cent goes back into the channel, back into content for you. And if you liked what you saw here today, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that share button so that fellow wrestling fans can find this video and our community can grow even bigger. And with that, I must bid you all adieu and say goodbye and good night.